something that maybe was worth sharing with the audience.
And jumping off of that point, so many of the films that we have here at TIFF are adaptations of novellas, books, plays, and I'm just always kind of curious as a filmmaker, how do you approach that in terms of adapting things where, hey, maybe you need to cut?
The thing is that if you want, if you're a French filmmaker functioning within the framework of independent filmmaking, there is what you can do and what you can't do, and I hate the idea that there are things I can't do. But in this case, you know, the limit was my knowledge or my experience of the Russian political world. So I think that if I wanted to deal with what has been happening at that specific period between those specific people and that is at the roots of what has transformed in such a dramatic way our politics, I needed to have to work to start with someone who is a witness, someone who is an analyst that I can trust and who kind of gives me the keys. So in this case, it was not so much about adapting a novel, it was about using the novel to make sense of recent events in politics. So I think it was more that dimension that was what makes the characters flesh and blood. It's really stuff that we developed with Emmanuel Carrère, my co-writer, during the process of writing. It's not that present in the film, but in the book. The book is more political than this movie.
And before we move to the floor, I'm just going to jump to you of what drew you to this specific project, because it's a tricky role that you're kind of doing here.
Yeah, I mean, I was very happy to receive something from Olivier. I was a fan of his work, and right from page one, the script was just extremely compelling. The writing was very clear. It was a look behind a curtain that I had not seen before, and really complex character, but actually on the first read, probably less about the part and more just about how much I learned, frankly, you know, just reading the script. And I don't think I'd really sort of worked in modern politics, modern power before. There was something exciting about that, and having to ask myself what that means to me, and then what it means to the character, and how do those things meet in some way. And I thought it was really a story about, in some ways, how we got to where we are today. I don't think it's just about Russia. Yeah, it just, and on a very basic level, I literally remember thinking, well, if I'm going to be an actor, I have to do this. You know, like it's a big meal. It's a big meal, and that's the kind of challenge you're very fortunate to meet. You know.
Yeah, fair enough. And I just want to open it up to the floor so we have it.
That I can, you know, be sitting here today with Olivier in a beautiful theater, or with all of you. I feel very fortunate. I have gotten to work with some really wonderful people, and I carry that with me. You know, that means a lot. You know, the most blessed experience is when you give a lot to the piece, but sometimes the piece gives back to you, and that's a really great thing when that happens.
For me,
I think best case scenario is always that the gut reaction is yes, and then you kind of say yes, and then you go, oh, shit, you know. So yeah, sure. I mean, I guess with this one, again, I was so compelled initially that I did want to know more, and then once I knew more, gravity of it, you know, just became heavier and heavier / more real. So, yeah, and up until today, I appreciated a fellow American's comments, you know, about the, it's a lot right now, and so there were definitely days on this that did feel like a lot.
I'm gonna look up top if I'm ignoring. I know we have like a couple questions. Am I? Oh! There's someone sitting right in the like middle with the hat right there. Yeah.
Hi. This question, I guess, is more for Olivier, but also it might apply to you, Paul. In terms of depicting real life figures that are well-known faces, there's a lot of strong opinions, I guess, about like whether the performance should be an imitation or more of like an adaptation or interpretation. So specifically with Jude's portrayal of Putin, how did you land on kind of what you arrived at in the final product?
Sorry. The question is about kind of imitation, adaptation, about real life figures, like Jude's performance, of course, as well.
You know, I think my first idea was to use some sort of Putin lookalike. I mean, you know, so like an unknown actor or something like, and you know, thinking of it, working on the project, working on the scene, I realized that I didn't need a Putin lookalike, because ultimately it's not so much about Putin, it's what's happening inside of him. And I think that it's a very complex mix, and I think I needed to. My priority is to have a great actor, because who could reinvent Putin from the inside and deal with the many layers of his personality. And I think that in that sense, Jude is, you know, was my first choice, because I mean I knew him, I admired him, and I thought that even if he doesn't look like Putin, who cares, because he understands Putin, and that's so much more important and more essential. And I think you know, and I'm incredibly grateful for the job he did, because he is both doing some sort of impersonation of Putin, but at the same time he is doing his homework of understanding him. And he makes me understand Putin better through the work he did of research, and how he found this very specific physicality also.
We have a couple more minutes left, and I'm just gonna go right here.
Him playing with his daughter was really startling when I watched the movie, because I was a person who's made those actions, then play with his daughter that way, right? And so I was disturbed by that / moved by it, weirdly. So I...
Fair enough. And then, yeah, there was a question right there.